A friend reunion disaster movie where the disaster isn't that they had to give up their phones for the night. Let's talk about Nuked. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Our Pass, and I'm talking about Nuked, which is premiering at the Tribeca International Film Festival on June 13, 2024. It's a new indie comedy about a group of friends reconnecting and disconnecting for a birthday party before some pretty crazy stuff happens. My hot take is I definitely think you should watch it. I really like this movie. It is just a fun indie comedy with a great cast and sharp writing, which tells a funny but also emotional story. I really enjoyed it. It felt fun. It felt fresh. It was just a joy to be in. So definitely a dinner party I would like to attend, and you should too. So I'm going to tell you a little about the film, a few things I liked, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into the ending. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the ending section. If you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn off when I get there. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. So in Nuked, you have two friends, Jack and Gill. They've been married for 20 years. They're having a 40th birthday party, and they're inviting some of their old friends over that they haven't seen in a long time. The idea is they want to reconnect with everyone, so they invite them to this party. And then when they get there, they make everyone give up their phones. Could you do that? I don't know if I could, but they make everyone do that and proceed to have a wonderful night until some crazy stuff happens. And that until some crazy stuff happens, what happens? Do they all make it out okay? Well, you have to watch the movie to find out. So, things I liked about this movie. The first, I love the writing. It is really funny. It is really sharp. It is just really well written. I loved seeing the characters. I loved hearing their interactions. I loved the little bits of information. It was just a really nicely written film, and it definitely shows through. The second thing I love the cast. It's a great cast. It's kind of led by Anna Camp and Justin Bartha. They are both fantastic, but the entire cast is really fun. They are all playing very out there characters, like as you can imagine, like a group of friends who maybe kind of like went off in different directions and then came back. It is just a fun group of people to spend time with. The third thing I love the humor. It is a comedy. You hope the humor is good. And I liked it. It has a lot of funny humor. There's, relationship humor. There is some like frat guy kind of humor. There's kind of a nice mix throughout. And there are some very kind of ridiculous situations that are very fun to see. And the last thing I loved, it does have some emotion. There are some emotional moments as well. It kind of balances humor and heart very well throughout the movie. It's more emotional towards the latter part of the movie, but definitely is a film that has that nice mix of both laughs and cries. So, all that being said, things I didn't like about this movie. The first, I feels like maybe it was a little too soon, which is never a bad thing. That's always a good thing if I want more. It feels like they could have developed a little bit more of the story. It feels like there were some threads that were pulled and some things that happened that didn't get fully resolved. So I feel like this movie could have benefited from a little bit more time. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I really thought this was a fun, fresh film. So I definitely think you should check it out. And if you do, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I would love to hear it. And very quickly, I'm going to go into the ending right now. So if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So in Nuked, you got Jack and Jill. It's a 40th birthday party for them. They're married for 20 years. They're living in this beautiful house that is basically paid for by Jill's burgeoning podcast. She kind of started a podcast on a whim. It kind of took off. And now she is an influencer. They're staying in this lovely house and they're inviting their friends over for a 40th birthday party. Now they're also trying to have a baby. So there's some pressure in there. Jill's podcast is an intimate podcast about relationship advice. A lot of that stuff gets aired on the podcast. She is like recording their progress, things like that. There's a little bit of tension in there about how public their lives have been. So one of the things that they would do in this party, they get their friends over and they're going to have them give up their phones for an entire night. No phones. No phones for an entire night. Blows your mind, right? How do you show pictures of your kids and or dogs? How do you show pictures of your trip? How do you solve arguments? Like who played who? Like you would have to just go by memory. I don't even know how that's possible, but they are doing this for their party. It's a great idea. It's a really fun idea. So who are their friends? They're friends from college and a couple others. So you've got Jack and Jill, they're the main. Then you have Mo, who is one of their friends from college. She, I think, was a singer in a band. And you have Logan, who is still in a band touring. They are not a couple, but they have similar interests. So I'm grouping them together. You've got Sam, who's a really nice guy. He's a doctor, and his wife, Penelope, who's a little bit tough to get to behind. She's a rough character. And then you've got Damien and Ishan. They're a couple. They come in as well. So you've got a nice kind of like mix of different people. And then the party starts. So right when the party is starting to begin, I think Jack is looking he's in the bathroom, he's looking for something, and he looks in Jill's purse for some reason. I don't remember why, but inside he sees that her birth control is still being used. Her like little birth control tabs are still being used. So she is still on birth control and they're trying to have a baby. This like blows his mind. They've been like trying for a bit. They've been like cataloging that journey and she's still trying to have a baby. This throws him for a loop right before this party. And that definitely affects him. He definitely has some awkward interactions where he's talking about trust and he's a little bit kind of like thrown off. But the party still happens. Their party is a food-centric party. So they have a chef there who has cannabis-infused food. They start off with a tempura cannabis leaf, which I guess was good. And then it moves on to like a poached halibut and leek vinaigrette with cannabis in there as well. Everything has a cannabis flavor to it. And so they have a fun night of drinking and getting high. Now, eventually, Penelope, who has just had a child with Sam, I think their kid is like 6 weeks old, not that old. She is on edge. She doesn't want to be away from the baby for that long. She clearly is clearly like affected their relationship. She is like obsessed with the baby. I think she's like not working because she can't stand to be away from the baby. Sam is missing the intimate side of their relationship. So he's hoping that this weekend will be a chance for him and his wife to reconnect. She is not interested in that. She just is very scared of her baby. So she's snooping around the house. She finds the box with the phones. She gets her phone out and she's checking on the kid, making sure he's okay. And then while she's doing that, there is an alert, an emergency alert that says that a missile is coming to California. And that's all they have. So she freaks out. She gets their phones. And this was inspired by a true story. I talked to the director. It was inspired by a true story from 2018 where I think the Hawaiian emergency the emergency like system sent a message to all of Hawaii saying like a missile is coming or a bomb is coming to Hawaii, and they didn't retract it for 38 minutes. And so the director and the writer were thinking like, what would have happened in those 38 minutes? What would those people have done? And that was kind of the nucleus of this story. So here you have a missile coming to California. Penelope freaks out. She runs out with the phones. She's like, oh my God, like there's a missile, there's a missile. She like throws the phones. Like, you were snooping? She's like, there's a missile coming for California. What, we gotta do something. They all head to the basement. This is apparently a California house with a basement. Not very common, but they have one. They head to the basement and there they start kind of freaking out about this because remember in the basement, they're in the basement. They don't get cell phone signal. They're trying to check and see what happens, but they're trying to stay safe. They don't really know what to do. There's a lot of push and pull there. Now, Logan and Mo have been kind of reconnecting during this time. They used to be a couple and then they broke up. And now that, I think the world is going to end, Logan comes to some realizations. He tells Mo that he shouldn't have left her 20 years. He should have like stayed and built a life with her. Maybe, I mean, probably he would have been happier, but he is touring the world. He is like living the rock star life, but he seems to have some regrets. So they talk about all their regrets and such now. And during all of this, there are some arguments. Jack and Gill are arguing about the birth control thing. And then because, they're worried about a missile coming, there's some confessions that come up. There's some confessions that happen between these characters. Sam reveals that he and Mo hooked up once, and then Penelope, the kind of newcomer of the group, reveals that she hooked up with Logan one time when he was touring. And Logan's like, "Oh yeah," like he's trying. Like, remember that it was a weird one. I think Penelope was just like wanted to hurt Sam because of this whole situation. She was upset that they even came here and that she was away from her child. So she revealed this information, which didn't help Sam. And Damien, who is very smart in this situation, says, hey, you know what? We shouldn't have these confessions. We shouldn't have all this stuff. Let's go around and reveal what we're grateful for. And there's this lovely, like, heartwarming, grateful session where everyone reveals something that they're grateful for. So again, humor and heart. Logan reveals that he has just been kicked out of his band. They had musical differences. They wanted to keep playing the same stuff. He wanted to do something new. So he was kicked out of his band. So he is also dealing with a lot right now. But thankfully, it looks like he's going to have Mo, because then Mo and Logan go off and hook up. It seems like they are going to rekindle their relationship. Jill reveals why she, stopped, why she's still taking birth control. She's actually scared to have a baby. This whole thing happened so quickly. This like podcast, this whole change in life happened. And she's nervous that, she doesn't, the baby is going to interfere with that. She doesn't want to stop working. She's not sure she's going to be a good mom. She just has a lot of doubts. And so I think Jack is understanding of that. He is not as upset as I would have expected him to be. He is very upset, but he still loves his wife. He's supporting them. So they start to work that out. We also find out that Penelope and Sam, their wedding was a fairly fast one. They got married after Penelope got pregnant, and it seems like she didn't really love, like, she wanted to get married because she was pregnant, not because she liked Sam. There's this interesting scene where Sam is like talking to her about how he still like wants her and how he loves her, and she's like, I have love for you. Essentially, like, I have love for you because you are the father of my child. She's a really bad person in this, and they have a fight. Eventually, Penelope decides that she's gonna go brave it and go, drive and see their son. So Jack and Jill are still working on their connection, and Jack now reveals a little bit. He said that he's not happy that, I think Jill is spending so much time with the podcast, spending so much time being an influencer, and he thought maybe he wanted to start a family so that they could spend more time together. Like, he just wanted to spend more time with her, so he thought that maybe a family would slow that down, which is again what Jill is worried about. So they had these differing opinions, and that is affecting their relationship. There's a lot of relationship effect here. So everyone reconvenes after some of these realizations, and Damien and Ishan decide that they're going to get married. They've never gotten married, and they want to get married. And Logan is apparently a minister, so he is an ordained minister. Must have done it while he was touring. I think he did it to like marry one of his like bandmates. They wanted to get married, so he is a minister. They have a ceremony. Damien says yes, but then Ishan says he can't, which was a weird coincidence. Like, they just said that they want to get married, and now that it's like push comes to shove, he says no. Penelope and Sam go upstairs to see what's going on. There was a bang earlier. They don't know what it was. They go upstairs. They find the chef passed out. Seems like she was cooking something. Something happened, and she is passed out. She's fine, but she's passed out. And when they're upstairs, they're also getting notices, and they find out that the missile threat was fake and that there's no missile coming. So they all get out of the basement. They all start yelling at each other, blaming each other. They blame Penelope for finding her phone. If she hadn't done that, they wouldn't have known anything. None of this would have happened. It would have just been a lovely evening. But because of her, they like mess everything up. I mean, yeah, but you probably would want to know if a missile was actually coming. So I don't know. It's a tough call. Penelope gets angry and she leaves. She's done with this. She didn't want to be here anyways. And now that everything's clear, she's leaving. So Damien and Ishan are now arguing. They come to an agreement. Ishan just doesn't believe in marriage, I guess. His parents are divorced, and he's a divorce attorney, so he's seen a lot of it. He's seen a lot of the bad. So that's why it's not that he didn't like love Damien, it's not that he didn't want to get married. He just doesn't believe in like the institution of marriage. So that was a quick resolution. Chef Sasha wakes up. She's back. She's serving the next course. Her nitrogen tank exploded. She was trying to free some of the stuff, and I guess it's exploded. You'd think that would be a big explosion. It was. You'd think I hope the house is okay, but she's fine, and they're eating their dessert. Now, Jill decides that she doesn't love this connected world, so she throws her phone in the fire. She says, I don't like, she wants a fresh start, so she's throwing her phone in the fire. Not a good idea. She's an influencer. She needs that information. There might also be passwords on her phone, two-factor authentication, all that stuff. Not a good idea, but she does it anyways. And Jack does it as well. They watch their phones burn in the fire. I hope that they're wearing masks because there's some chemicals definitely coming up from that fire. But they seem to be reconnecting. It seems like Jill throwing her phone in the fire and then Jack following helps them to reconnect, helps them to spend more time together, which is what Jack wanted. And I assume Jill wanted that too. So they seem to be doing fine. So after this, everyone is kind of like reconvening. Logan and Mo sing a duet song. It's pretty cute. Poor Sean is just sitting there in the corner sad because Penelope left and he realized that she actually doesn't love him. So he didn't really have a happy ending, but most of the other people do. They take bites out of the food, and Ishan, because he embarrassed Damien and because he said no to get married, he is booking a trip for them to go. So it seems like everyone except Sean is doing better. They have a dance party. They start dancing, and during the dance, something happens. Everything starts shaking, and it's California. I assume it's an earthquake, but maybe the missile was real. We don't know because that is when the credits hit. That is when the credits happen. It was probably an earthquake because the credits, there is a, like stinger during the credits. We hear Jill's podcast, and Jack finally joins the podcast. He has been angry about the podcast because it took his wife away, but it seems like maybe now he is accepting that and trying to be there as well. So it's a sweet sign. It is a little bit of progress for them. Also, during the credits, we see pictures of the chef making the food. It's funny. I wish we would have seen like outtakes from it. I imagine there are some very hilarious outtakes from this film, or like other pictures from the party, some craziness, stuff like that. But that is it. That is Nuked. Like I said, it's premiering at the Tribeca International Film Festival on June 13th, 2024. Like I said, I think you should watch it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I really liked the characters. I liked the crazy situation, and I liked the writing a lot. So definitely check it out. If you're at Tribeca, make sure to see it. If not, keep an eye out. It'll probably run the festival circuit and then come to streaming or on demand later on this year. So thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.